Welcome to the Money and Flow podcast with Eugenie George, where yoga and stocks meet. Did you know that women and women of color don't talk that much about money? And did you also know that the health and wellness community is a $600 billion business? And women aren't in the forefront of decision making. We're here to change that. This is the first podcast that talks about money and wellness at the same time. We've got it down to a science, and we're here to help out women in their 20s and 30s. Without further ado, your host, Eugenie George. Hello, welcome to the Money and Flow podcast. I am your host, Eugenie George. Super excited to be here. Super excited to be in the living room recording myself. Today we're going to talk about Jen Sincero, and if you haven't heard of her, she is an author, a writer, an author coach, and a couple of years ago she wrote You Are a Badass. You Are a Badass is all about manifesting your dreams, coming up with an idea, and making sure that you follow through with it. It's a really good book. It's really funny. It's a little dark because I would say it's dark in the sense of whenever you read self-help books, a lot of them tend to be like, you can do it, get yourself out of it, here's my struggling story. This is a little bit different. It basically makes fun of all of the people that are in the self-help world and then realizes, oh wait, they do have something there. Came out with a prequel because I don't know about you, but I personally was manifesting a lot of stuff, including free parking spaces. But there was this big part that was missing, and that big part was money. And I think that is one of the issues with a lot of self-help. You know, you can manifest and do all of these awesome things, but the truth is, if you don't get clear with your numbers, or if you don't understand how money comes and flows, then you're not going to keep it, if that makes sense. So she got really clear about that. So we're going to talk about that today. And the reason why is because you are a badass at making money. If you're listening to this podcast, you're stepping in the right direction. Even if you don't know what the heck, even if you accidentally clicked this because you saw that it said wellness, even if you actually said, oh my goodness, that's a black girl, I'm going to talk to her, I'm going to listen to her podcast. The point is that you're trying to make a difference. Acknowledging that is very, very important. So most people and a lot of women know that they want their money to grow, know that they want to have leadership positions, know that they want to take charge, but sometimes we just need a little bit of push, and we want our money to grow, but we don't know how. So, you know, like I always said, or like Michael Jackson said, you are not alone, okay? I am here with you, okay? Though you're far away, I don't know if I'm going to be here to stay, but I'm close to staying. Yes, no, I will be here. Yes. So, unfortunately, women don't hear enough success stories about other women making money. They will hear about women being in CEO positions, but they will not hear about women making money. And I talk a little bit about that. There is a podcast that talks about how Cardi B is my money mentor, because she's honestly the only person that I've heard talk about money and how money makes the world go round. So if you're interested in that, then I would suggest do that. But anyways, so yeah, women do not hear a lot of successful stories about women making money. So if you look at the news, or even if you type in women making money, you are going to see or read or hear more negative comments than you are positive. So as women, we do need constant reminders of our abilities to kick ass. What I want to do is talk about how we can take actionable steps, and we can also become financial feminists. But one of the things that we need to fix and learn about or understand is our money mindset. So what do we think about with money? So Jen Sincero is known for that, okay? So one of the things that she talked about in the book, as well as when I heard her speak, is you need to focus on the hell yeses. So if it's between Shonda Rhimes or Jen, the key to making money is focusing on the yes more than the no's. So if you're going to happy hour and you don't want to, just say no. If something feels right, particularly when it comes to money, take the leap and say hell yes. So women have the power to enhance their intuition if they listen to their gut instead of the gram. Sometimes I personally want to go to Thailand. I think that would be a great experience. But right now, my gut is telling me you need to wait. So listening to your intuition, that is something that is really, really important. And that's something that we don't pay attention to and we don't think that it's valuable, but that is something that's really valuable. And she talks about that in the book. The other thing that Jen talked about was taking money risks, okay? In our everyday life, we take risks. We walk outside. Outside is dangerous. I live in the United States of America. It is dangerous, okay? I live in Philadelphia. It is dangerous. You know what I mean. I mean, it's less dangerous than what it was 20 years ago. But the idea is that every day we're in this constant fight or flight mentality. So we always take these risks. So we take risks, but how many of them are financial risks? Meaning, how many of them are investing in your future? So do you want to start a business? Are you interested in investing but don't know where to start? Do you want to write a book? All these questions are what you should ask when you're thinking about taking a money risk. Jan mentioned in the book, which I loved, and I think this is the first time I've read a self-help book that had to do with money instead of a money book that had to deal with money. But she said, get really clear on your numbers. So one of the numbers that I said was I wanted $64,000 to feel financially free, which right now that sounds kind of crazy, but I did some of the math and I want to make sure that my emergency accounts are taken care of, that I'll have the ability to put money down for a house, just little things like that I never thought about. And you're probably thinking, girl, that's a lot of money. And sometimes it feels like that. But if you don't make those financial risks and we don't get clear on it, then you're never going to actually achieve anything, right? I think it was Jim Carrey that had he had an interview with Oprah, which is something that I always look at and I think about. And Jim wrote, he wrote a check out to himself and he said that he wanted to make $10 million actors services rendered, which means that by this date, he's going to make this amount of money. And he actually made that amount of money. Now, you know as much as I know that Jim Carrey did not just twiddle his thumbs, he also got to work. So having these clear number goals and then also doing something that is risky, which is acting is a risk, that puts you in the right direction. Okay. So I would say that Jen is really, really good with that. She's good with talking about getting clear with your numbers. That is the first step. Now, I'm not saying that you should talk to her to be your accountant, but if you're thinking about getting your mindset right, getting it tight, then you gotta get clear with those numbers, okay? So the next tip that I loved was that Jen talked about victimizing your money story. So this happens to many of us. I mean, honestly, 70% of us are living paycheck to paycheck. And sometimes I even fall into that. I hate to say that, but I am also a full-time graduate student and sometimes it does happen. And we have a tendency to freak out about money 24/7. Or sometimes we're so carefree that the word or the thought of the budget, or excuse me, I should say cash flow, it's going to make us cringe. So even like accomplishing the American dream, that involves embracing a struggle or overcoming a hardship. So even culturally, we were taught like we have to overcome something that is hard. That may be the case. There are lots of things. I mean, there are lots of issues that people had to overcome. I am not I'm not going to second change people's ideas, but we do need to realize that we culturally typically want to overcome something, and sometimes it will fall back into this victimizing thing. Well, I can't make it because I'm a woman. Well, I can't make it because I'm black. Well, I can't make it because I'm young. So we will use that more so with victimizing our money story. What we need to do is just acknowledge that And being aware of your money story or your money helps you own your own story. So money is the number one cause of stress. But instead of freaking out about it, you could write a journal entry about how you got your first job or your first paycheck. We need to think about how money has provided us with opportunities of a lifetime. I think there's this great book called A Long Way Gone, and I believe it's by Ishmael Bea. But anyways, he was a child soldier, okay? Lost his family, lost everything that he had. When I read his story, never throughout the entire book did I hear him victimizing his story. It was crazy. I had never read a book that talked about how someone overcame so much hardship, but was so positive. And I think that's the way we should start thinking about our money. We should think about our money the same way. Like, this is not so much a hardship as it was something that was difficult, and we learned to overcome it instead of having this hard guilt and burden over it. You also have made and you've done a lot of contributions in this world. Even if you've started working as a server, or you work at McDonald's, or you're the CEO of a company, you've learned how to make money in some way, shape, or form. So that's something that you should celebrate, and your money story does actually make you strong. The next step this is step number 4, and this is actually something that's talking about playing to win. And what does playing to win look like? One of the most interesting things to know is that wealthy people see money as a game. Some games are serious, like chess, and some are mad crazy, like Hungry Hungry Hippo, y'all. So if you're into BitCurrency, or you're into spending money on your friend's business because you think that that's something to go on, that's super, super risky. Money should be an exciting thing to people. So money flows in and out of our lives, and we should have fun with it. You will be okay if you lose money, but the most important thing is to be okay with. Hey, you. Are you thinking about reading a money book, but you don't know where to go? And you're thinking, I've seen that book, Crazy Rich Asian. I wish somebody would talk to me about it. Well, you're not alone. We actually have the Money and Flow Facebook group, and this is where we talk about books like You Are a Badass at Making Money. Next month, we're actually going to talk about the lovely book written by Stephanie O'Connell, which is The Broke and Beautiful Life. So we're going to talk about couponing, y'all. We're going to talk about saving money, and we're also going to talk about her experience as being an actress, because being an actress and making money can be a very interesting thing. So hop on over to our Facebook group, Money and Flow. Five badass steps to activate your money. So if you've already heard a couple of the other podcasts, it's pretty much the same thing, but I'm stressing and urging this because I think that this is something that's really important. I also, on my website, eugeniegeorge.com, that is where you can get the same freebie, which is called Your Money Mindset. So it's called Flipping the Switch. So anyways, the reason why I have to repeat myself over and over again is because we are nature. Humans are nature of habit. We love habit. We love cues. We love to constantly go back to what feels comfortable. So whenever we're talking about our money, it is important to create new habits. So one of the habits that we talk about is to find your financial BFF. So I typically recommend having a lawyer, even though sometimes lawyers can be sketchy. So if you're looking for a well put together lawyer, you can find that person. If you want a lawyer that is a woman, you can find a lawyer that's a woman. Having a lawyer can save you a lot of money. Now, you may not feel it right now. You might be 25 and saying, I love my life, I love my job. However, having someone in your back pocket is really, really important, just to have a number. The other person that I typically recommend is an accountant. Okay, I've said this time and time again, y'all. Accountants are little gangsters. All right. If you've ever had a relative or a friend who goes to that store and they haggle for a cheaper price, that's what an accountant does for your budget. But it's for money that you want to make it last longer. Another tip that we say is hold a forgiveness party. So, forgiveness party is a woo woo experience where we read our money story and we look at our money story. My favorite writing prompt is, if money was your lover, would you still be dating them? That's from my money coach, Jolie. And that's an interesting thing. If we actually looked at money like a person, because we've already done studies. There have been studies that have been released from, I believe it's Oxford, but there was a study that released that we treat money like we treat a person. So if we actually look at if money was our lover, will we still be dating them? It's really important. So writing a writing prompt, figuring out your money story, and reading out loud and burning it or throwing it in the trash or ripping it up. That is a form of your forgiveness party. You don't have to do it with your friends. You don't have to do it with your family. You can just do it on your own. But it is really, really important to get those ideas out. It's also incredibly cathartic to think about your money as you think about a person, and think about how their money helped and hurt you, and forgive all of those experiences. Okay. My favorite tip, which is a tip that I found out about the myth of the nice girl. I believe the author's name is Fran Hauser, but she talked about writing job reflections instead of writing resumes. And it doesn't matter if you're a entrepreneur, if you're an actress, if you are an accountant, writing about all of the skills that you've learned in your life and all of the skills that you've learned at your job really helps you focus on the positive and really helps you think about all of the things that you've accomplished. If you are interested in listening to our other podcasts, those are listed below. If you'd like to talk more about the myth of the nice girl, or you are badass at making money, you can hop over at the Facebook group Money and Flow. You can also talk to me via Instagram, and it is Eugenie_George. That's Eugenie_George. Thanks, and have a great day.